Hey folks, this is the Wayne Esper Show podcast. No live show today. Had some things to take care of this morning. Got back a little bit. No, I shouldn't say got back. I didn't get them done in time to do the live show. So, anyway, lots of things going on. Lots of things happening. Now, there's two ways. I'll get into this here in a little bit, but there's two ways of looking at things. You can take and look at something and say, okay, that's the way it is. Because your experience at what you're seeing is your testimony of what it is. If somebody comes up to you, a friend of yours, a family member, and says, yes, that's what it is, then that testimony is correct. Am I on the same page with you? Or are you on the same page with me? Because I asked that question because of this. Here's another way of looking at it. You can look at something and totally ignore it. Now let me sum it up. You can look at something and say, that's, it is what it is. My experience is my testimony. This is what it is, and that is it. And yes, I've researched it. Here it is. Or you can look at it and go, oh, it's all bullcrap. Walk away. My question to you is, how do you see things? What do you determine to be true? More than anything other than that is, how do you determine what is true? Okay? How is it that a person can look at something and ignore it? How can a person, sorry, I took a drink of tea. How can a person look at something and say that doesn't exist and it's all BS? Without ever researching it. Okay? Without ever doing any of the work that needs to be done to verify and validate that situations or that incident for what it is. Okay? And it's really simple to do. It's really simple to do. It's just do your homework. That's all it is. Just do your homework. I don't know anyone who is able to take the time to do their homework. I don't. Honestly, I don't know who. I know I do. I take the time to do it, even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I search stuff out. It's not like I take 6, 7, 8 hours, looking this stuff up. No. Bit by bit, I get to the truth. But see, I've got like 30 years experience in researching these stuff, 30 plus years, I should say, in researching and investigating everything that's gone on in the government and behind the curtain and all this and the other thing. And it is what it is. It is what it is. And I just encourage people, don't believe me. Question everything. Go out and look this stuff up yourself. Examine it for what it is. And if you're going to sit there and go, I'm not going to listen to him, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to go grab my beer and watch my football. Okay. You're going to be doing it from the inside of a family residential facility somewhere in your state. But yeah, you go right ahead and ignore all of this. All right. I'll be back right after this. Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com.
Lock it on to the best station on the net.
For all you independent artists, musicians, and filmmakers, there is a place for you. Radio Rock 92.6 The Blitz. Go to radiorocktheblitz.blogspot.com. Whatever the subject you can think of, we talk about it. Come join Diana and Wayne as we discuss whatever it is that is happening in our lives.
Come and listen to Diana and Wayne's Grab Bag Potpourri Talk Show. Check it out on Spreaker.com.
Hey folks, how you doing? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce right here for the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast. Not live today. I was hoping to do a live show, but didn't get stuff done soon enough. So, you're just going to have to put up with a podcast. All right. Hey, lots of things going on. You got this Ebola scare going on. You've got all sorts of wonderful things going on. I want to first tell you that there's two ways of looking at this whole thing that's going on, about everything that's going on. Okay. There's two things that go on. First of all, people are always going to look at something and poo-poo the idea that it, oh my God, it's like, that's not true. But they don't have anything to back it up. And I understand that. I see it. Okay. I don't know anyone who will sit there and at least take a look at the things that I talk about and actually say, you know what, that's looks very compelling. I don't know anybody that does that. I know that there are a lot of people in the alternative and independent media that know what goes on, knows what's happening behind the curtains, who's running things. So I understand that. I know that. I don't know how many people have the balls, the confidence, the backbone to stand up and say, you know what? I don't know too many people that do that except for me. Well, let's put it this way. I know quite a few people that would do that. And the rest of them are just like, ignore it. Whatever. I mean, basically, when you have a friend that tells you certain things that obviously can be verified and backed up, but you're looking at your friend going, oh, you're a freaking nut job. Go away. I don't want to hear that crap. That's the problem, folks. The operative word there is want, which is also translated into the word desire. Your life would be much better if you would, in your eyes, get rid of all the bad things. Well, just because you close your eyes doesn't mean the bad things are going to go away. You know, in from your perspective, and I'm talking to those folks out there thinking that I'm one of those conspiracy theorists. Just because from your point of view, what I'm saying sounds too far-fetched for you to believe doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You're the same type of people that'll say, well, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true, huh? Well, not everything on the internet is true. Are you stupid? I know that. So do a lot of other people. But you're justifying your ignorance by blaming something else. Ooh. Which dovetails into this. You're looking at this whole Ebola crisis as being something that, well, it is important, and we do have to look at this, and we do have to discuss this, and we do have to prepare because people will die. I'm not saying they won't. But in July of this year, a couple of months ago, a few months ago, they already knew, the State Department already knew that it was coming to the United States. They already knew this. And the State Department person that was in a meeting at the time, or a press conference or whatever it was, literally used the words Ebola attack. Now, you've got to be, pretty darn intelligent to be working for the State Department. Unless you're Hillary Clinton. But you got to be a wordsmith. You have to know that out in public you're going to be scrutinized and chastised for anything you say. And this person literally said there was, it literally used the two words Ebola attack. Which brings to mind an implication, or as I like to say, there was something implied in what they said. And this could be anybody about anything, but specifically about this. This would imply that this whole Ebola crisis was manufactured. Manufactured in the press, manufactured in a lab. The story behind it. Now, I'm not saying any of that is true. I'm just speculating at this point. But if it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it just might be a freaking duck. And for you to ignore it, for you to poo-poo the idea that any of this is not, real or not a serious situation, or if you think that I'm one of those conspiracy theory right-wing nut jobs, you are a complete and total boob. You have absolutely no idea what's going on. And it's right out there in front of you. It's right out there in front of you. And you're sitting there blaming everyone else, pointing fingers and criticizing everyone else, and then saying, I don't have to do this, I don't have to check anything out that you tell me to check out because I don't want to. Okay, you don't want to. I'll move on to someone else who actually has a brain and can figure this stuff out. And we can work together to try to get something done and help people. So you go back into your little man cave, your little woman cave, and you do whatever it is you want to do. But let's not discount and disregard the situations that are going on around us and deny the fact that this is a serious issue. Along with that, we have a president that believes he's above the law and goes around Congress. We have people in California who are the dumbest people walking on the face of the planet because they are all for gun control. They are all for backing this Democratic nut job, to use that term, Mr. Jerry Brown. I don't even want to call him a governor because I don't recognize his leadership. And we've got all this going on. And we have people like Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi spouting off their bull crap. And you're just going to sit there and deny all of this? You're going to sit there and say none of this exists? That I'm crazy? That when all you have to do is look at it yourself and realize I'm not? Anyway. It's one of those things where if you walk up, I'm using this as a metaphor, you walk up to a door and it's your friend's door of his house and you knock on the door and, no one answers the door. You knock again and no one answers the door. Well, common sense should tell you that he's not home and you can go home. But people will stand there and continue to knock on the door who have absolutely no idea that he's not home and just keep knocking on the door. And these are people who are stuck in a rut, who were told that if you continue to do something, the end result will change. That is a sure sign of insanity. So I think that you better start paying attention to what's going on around you. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. You can go check this stuff out yourself. You have to draw upon your own known principles and responsibilities and take care of the situations yourself by way of your own conscience. And the only way that you can do that is to check stuff out yourself. You don't have to believe me. I'm not saying that you should. I'm saying check this stuff out yourself. It is what it is. I'm going to go in another direction right now for the rest of this segment and talk to you about what I believe is not only, aside from the Ebola crisis, but also the manufactured narrative. I mean, think about that for a minute. Well, what makes me think that you're not manufacturing it? Because I have evidence to back it up. I have 30 plus years experience in research and investigation and looking at all of this and examining all of this and talking to certain people when I was living in California to draw some kind of idea upon which I see these things and then verify them later on and say, oh my God, I was right. Any thought that you have that you say, well, if this is true, then if you have that thought, you're on your way of learning something. And within that process, if you say, well, I need evidence to show myself that this is correct, and you find that stuff along the way, you're then going to look in the mirror and go, wow. That's why I always tell people, you're going to try to disagree with me, you're going to try to shove stuff in my face. No. You have to prove yourself right with the information that you're going to use against me. to contradict the things that I say. And oh, by the way, whatever play you're using in your playbook, been there and I used it. So I know what you're going to do. I know how you're going to do it, and I know how you're going to present it. But sometimes I'm surprised in the way that people present their disagreement and their contradictory statements to me, telling me that they disagree with me. It's quite incredible to me. I still get surprised, but it's the same theme through what they're saying. I'm going to discredit you, and I'm going to use this. Yeah, I know what you're going to use. Yeah. I'll shoot holes in it every time you pull it up. As I heard one person say about football, I'll do an in-run on your information. I heard that once. It stuck with me. I forget now who it was I heard that from, but I already know what people are going to say. I just don't know how they're going to present it in some cases. That's why I said I'm surprised when people present their side of, what they believe and why they disagree with me. I'm still surprised. But it comes down to this, folks. You need to realize that you don't have all the right answers. Neither do I. And I'll tell you straight up whether or not I do. I'll tell you straight up when I'm wrong. I'll tell you when I was wrong. It takes the work out of your hands for you to go out and check this stuff out yourself and prove to yourself that it is as real as it is, and probably a lot more, a lot worse than what you first imagined. Okay? So let me save you the time and trouble of putting anything together to contradict me or to tell me I'm wrong and to show me your information as to why. You don't have all the right answers. And all the answers you do have and all the things that you do see, I'm looking at the same thing and I know the truth. So there you go. So anyway. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me that we can live in a world where information is 24/7. I remember when it wasn't. But we live in a world where if you want to know what's going on in London, England right now, you can turn on the TV. But I find that the more information that people receive, the dumber they seem to be. It happens, folks. It happens because of a lot of reasons. I can list them here, but I don't have time in this segment to do that. But you're probably wondering, what the hell is this all about? Well, I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm here to awaken people's senses. I'm here to encourage people to go out and check this stuff out. I'm here to set up a system whereby you can converse with me with the information that you receive. You can email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Send me your information. If you want others to read or see or hear your information, you send me those links, you send me those blogs, whatever it is you want to do. freeamericaradio@usa.com. I'm here to shine the light on the corruption we call the federal government. I know some people would say, well, Obama's doing good. Let me point something out to you. Mr. Obama is nothing more than a Manchurian candidate. Go look that up, startpage.com. Manchurian candidate. Information has come out from Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio and several other lawyers in the know and have declared Obama's birth certificate a complete and utter fraud. And now there's word that someone's putting in for deportation order. Oh my God, you're not going to go to that birther thing, are you? No, I'm just mentioning it for you as an example as to what I bring to the table, as to what I'm trying to reveal as I say who's behind the curtain pushing the buttons and pulling the handles. But we have to understand one very important factor in all of this, folks, and that is we have to pay attention to what's going on, because if we don't, we're not going to see what's going to happen to us. So, what do? We open our eyes, and that's what I hope I'm doing. Let's just say I'm opening the vault of my 30 years of investigations and research and showing you what has gone on, what is going on, and if it continues, what will happen. Now again, I'm going to say this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit to it. And if I sound like I'm speculating in some areas, that only means that I don't know all there is to know specifically about that one area, but it wouldn't take me long to figure it out. And that's why I tell you, you don't have to believe me. You need to go out and look this stuff up yourself. It's that simple. It's that simple. Because what I've seen, what I know, what I have experienced, that's my testimony. I know what it is. Period. No one can contradict that. And when they try, you better bring a truckload of information, because I'm not going to spend 2 seconds in the same room with you. If all you're going to do is point fingers and say I'm full of bull, then you can hop back on that horse you came in on and ride right back out that freaking barn door, because you don't have all the answers either. Got it? Excuse me. I'm going to go to break. And when I come back, I'll give you a preview of what's coming up on the Views Express Live today. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, even if you disagree with me, I don't mind. You can disagree with me, but you better have the information to back it up. Please email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. You can also go to the Free America Radio Network page at freeamericaradio.us. You can donate, help out Free America Radio Network. Thank you. Appreciate that. I really do need your help to get this network to the next level. So if you want to be a part of that, then please donate or sponsor the show. I got a sponsors package there that's not going to break your advertising budget. And please get your emergency food supply today. You never know when the next natural or man-made disaster is going to happen. I'll be back right after this. Don't wait until another natural or man-made disaster strikes. Have at least 72 hours of emergency gear near you at all times, and that includes food. Get your emergency food supply today. Go to freeamericaradio.us and at the top of the page, click on the emergency food supply link. Help your family by purchasing as much emergency food supply as you need. You'll be helping out your family and Free America Radio Network. Thank you. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from The Views Expressed. Please come join me on The Views Express Live, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on Spreaker.com.
In a world controlled by an elite criminal crime syndicate, we need real men willing to risk it all to expose and chase down the bad guys. Tune in to the BK Factor, weekdays at high noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Ride along with BK Daily to investigate the globalist bad guys as BK puts the pedal to the metal in hot pursuit, chasing them down. The BK Factor, weekdays at high noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, on the Shake and Wake Radio Network, where the truth is all that matters, and the truth will make you free. ShakeandWakeRadio.com.
Check out BKPatriotRadio.com for more information. Welcome back, folks. This is the Wayne S. Pierce Show podcast for the 3rd of October, 2014. It's October already, folks. Holy crap. Where did the time go? You know, looking at everything out there right now, I got to tell you, it's a wonder anyone is not, well, it could either be a good thing or a bad thing. It's a wonder that people aren't out in the streets right now screaming and yelling and doing all of that and protesting and getting up in people's face. It's a wonder that people aren't doing that at this point with everything going on. And I'm glad, because we don't need that, okay? We don't need that. What we need is, we do need protest, but we need it peacefully. We need it, to be directed at the people that we're protesting, such as your city council member, your county board of supervisors, that kind of thing. So we can protest. We can definitely protest. From Peter Capnistas, I think. Anyway, it's on Free America Radio on Facebook. It's a video that you really have to hear. David Cameron, in a UN speech, says anyone questioning the 9/11 official story is a terror extremist. And that's on the Free America Radio Facebook page. From the minorityblog.com, the AstroTurf attempt to destroy Rush Limbaugh exposed. This is not a surprise, of course. What is interesting is just how small a group liberal progressives are involved in the plot and how well funded they are via George Soros money. Yeah, they try to get rid of Rush Limbaugh. Here's the thing. Oh, and I wanted to talk about this too. It's called the Fairness Doctrine. Go look it up. Startpage.com, punch into the search engine, Fairness Doctrine. Okay? There is no fairness to this doctrine at all. Okay? None. And you will not like it. What is the Fairness Doctrine? I will put this. It's from uspolitics.about.com. I will, matter of fact, copy and paste it right into the Free America Radio Facebook page right now. So you can go take a gander at that. I'm going to talk about this on the Views Express today at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And, yeah. The Fairness Doctrine, this is a summary. What is the Fairness Doctrine? Page 1, FCC History and Policies. Summary. The Fairness Doctrine was a Federal Communications Commission policy. The FCC believed that broadcast licenses, required for both radio and terrestrial television stations, were a form of public trust, and as such, licensees should provide balanced and fair coverage of controversial issues. The policy was a casualty of the Reagan administration deregulation. The Fairness Doctrine should not be confused with the equal time rule. And let me go put that in the comment. Let me click on that and put that into the comment section of the one I just put up there for the Fairness Doctrine. Free America Radio on Facebook. It goes into the history. It goes into... let me give you the history, a little background for it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. You guys need to check this out yourself. And it's not that long. You can read it within a couple of minutes, but I don't have that much time in this segment to do that. The history. This 1949 policy was an artifact of the predecessor organization to the FCC, the Federal Radio Commission. The FRC developed the policy in response to the growth of radio, in parentheses it says, unlimited, demand for a finite spectrum lead to government licensing of radio spectrum. The FCC believed that the broadcast licenses required for both radio and TV were a form of public trust, and as such, licensees should provide balanced and fair coverage of controversial issues. The quote-unquote public interest justification for the Fairness Doctrine is outlined in Section 315 of the Communications Act of 1937, amended in 1959. The law required broadcasters to provide, quote-unquote, equal opportunity to, quote, all legally qualified political candidates for any office if they had allowed any person running in that office to use the station, unquote. However, this equal opportunity offering did not and does not extend to news programs, interviews, and documentaries. Supreme Court affirms policy. In 1969, the U.S. Supreme Court unanimously 8-0 ruled that Red Lion Broadcasting Company of Red Lion, Pennsylvania, had violated the Fairness Doctrine. Red Lion's radio station, WGCB, aired a program that attacked an author and journalist, Fred J. Cook. Cook requested equal time, but was refused. The FCC supported its claim because the agency viewed the WGCB program as a personal attack. The broadcaster appealed. The Supreme Court ruled for the plaintiff, Cook. In that ruling, the court positioned the First Amendment as being, quote-unquote, paramount, but not to the broadcaster, but to the, quote, viewing and listening public, unquote. Justice Brian White, writing for the majority. Quote, the Federal Communications Commission has for many years imposed on radio and television broadcasters the requirement that discussion of public issues be presented on broadcast stations, and that each side of those issues must be given fair coverage. This is known as the Fairness Doctrine, which originated very early in the history of broadcasting and has maintained its present outlines for some time. It is an obligation whose content has been defined in a long series of FCC rulings in particular cases, and which is distinct from the statutory 370 requirement of 315 of the Communications Act, Note 1, that equal time be allotted all qualified candidates for public office. On November 27, 1964, WGCB carried a 15-minute broadcast by the Reverend Billy James Hargis as part of a Christian Crusade series. A book by Fred J. Cook entitled, quote, Goldwater, Extremist on the Right, unquote, was discussed by Hargis, who said that Cook had been fired by a newspaper for making false charges against city officials, that Cook had then worked for a communist-affiliated publication, and that he had defended Alger Hiss and attacked J. Edgar Hoover in the Central Intelligence Agency, and that he had now written a book, quote, book to smear and destroy Barry Goldwater, unquote. And this is the judge talking now. In view of the scarcity of broadcast frequencies, the government's role in allotting or allocating those frequencies, and the legitimate claims of those unable without governmental assistance to gain access to those frequencies for expression of their views, we hold the regulations and 401 ruling at issue here are both authorized by statute and constitutional. Note 28. The judgment of the Court of Appeals in the Red Lion is affirmed, and that in RTNDA reversed, and the causes remanded for proceedings consistent with this opinion. Red Lion Broadcasting versus Federal Communications Commission, 395 U.S. 367, 1969. As an aside, part of the ruling could be construed as justifying congressional or FCC intervention in the market to limit monopolization, although the ruling is addressing the abridgment of freedom. Quote, it is the purpose of the First Amendment to preserve an uninhibited marketplace of ideas in which truth will ultimately prevail, rather than to countenance monopolization of that market, whether it be by the government itself or a private licensee. It is the right of the public to receive suitable access to social, political, aesthetic, moral, and other ideas and experiences, which is crucial here. That right may not constitutionally be abridged either by Congress or by the FCC, unquote. There you go. Now, there are times, okay, there are times that, well, it's happening right now, to tell you the truth. It's happening right now because you've got the far left liberal communist Marxist socialist fascist on one side, Democrats and Republicans, by the way, who are wanting to monopolize the narrative. Well, guess what? They can't do that. They can't do that on their programs because of this little lawsuit in 1969. So now when you hear Fox say fair and balanced, which they really aren't, but when you hear them say that, you can think about the fairness doctrine. There are certain things that the public should know. And yes, we should know both sides so that we know what these people, whether you oppose them or not, what their what their particular perspective is. We have that right to know. We have that right to know. We want to know. Now, I'm going to go as far as saying this. Either the far left liberal loons, Marxist, communist, fascist, all those socialist people, I'm going to say this. When I was living in California, I've talked to many people who sided with one of those four I mentioned. They were completely and utterly and absolutely, positively, 100% wrong in their way of wanting the politics of the United States. But they had a right to say it. They had a right to go out into the streets and protest in getting the city to accommodate for their political views. Okay? But they were wrong. All of them. Those four I mentioned. Marxist, socialist, communist, fascist. They're wrong. They're absolutely 100% wrong. And I'll tell you why. History. So when you look back in history on the information being provided, you can look at the fairness doctrine and say, okay, this is what it is. Well, why don't we have both sides state their argument and let the people decide? Well, ain't that great? Yeah, that's what they want. Or no, let me correct myself. That's the way it should be. The Marxist, socialist, communist, fascist want to monopolize the narrative, period. They want all conservative, all Christian, all non-denominational, all preachers, all ministers, anybody that is against them out of the way. It's been seen since 1969. That's the way it is. And Dianne Feinstein has the gall in her little trashy mind to say that we're going to... she says, when I say we, I'm talking from her point of view, that the Democrats are going to win the Senate and the House, and it's going to be a full Democratic Congress. Full, all 535 seats. This is her idea of freedom. Shut down the opposing narrative, propagate, build up their own false narrative, and then shove it in people's faces. And don't let anybody who disagrees with you have any say in the matter whatsoever. Well, guess what? As long as I got a radio show and as long as I've got ways to communicate with people, I'm sure I'm not alone. There's going to be some people out there like me too. We're going to say what is wrong with this country. And what is wrong with this country is that there is no equality. There is no basis for a level playing field. But also, when you look back in history, you can see a cycle of these things happening. From 1776 on up to, I believe, 1871, you saw the cycle. You saw the things change over and over and over again. And people were saying basically the same thing. They're wrong and we're right. And the opposition was saying, they're wrong and we're right. And it went from there. Now we're in a society where nobody is right, nobody's wrong, and then that space of an uplifting, constructive, resourceful government that we wanted to protect us, to help us out, is now co-opted by the Marxist, socialist, communist, fascist. And that hole has been filled with bullcrap. Okay? Because people were too damn stupid, and we're arguing with one another, pointing fingers instead of pointing at what the problem truly was. What is one of the things that one of our founding fathers of this country said? Centralized government. We cannot have that. Okay? We can't. We cannot have central banking. We cannot have a central money distribution center. We cannot have that. Why? Have you looked around and paid attention? That's why. Because people are corrupt. What's that saying? Money talks, but BS walks. There's a lot of it walking around Washington, D.C., isn't there? Of both. What you have to understand is that you have to open your eyes and see what's going on before you can even make any assessments of the situation to draw any conclusions whatsoever on what you're going to be able to do. That's why I say prepare yourself. And when I say prepare yourself, I'm not just saying that to try to sell product. I don't do that. When I see... I'm the guy with the sign on the side of the road saying the bridge is out. And if you're going to, say, I've been down this road 100 times. That bridge ain't out. That bridge is strong. It's all right. And I'll just watch you sail off into the ravine. I'm telling you the bridge is out. The bridge is out. Damn it, pay attention. This government has fallen apart. By the way, Jordan Maxwell and others, not just him, there's others, have said that we are already in the New World Order since the 1960s, and probably before that. But now, we got people sitting around going, well, what do we do? What's the solution? What's this? What's that? Well, other than a damn coup from the American people in Washington, D.C., I don't know what else to do. I have ideas. Protesting is one of them. Grab your grab your signs, go out to the street. Brian Lang over at livetruthradio.com goes out almost every weekend to the overpasses and protests. Well, Mr. Brian Lang, you need to get up and get down to your downtown area and protest, if you don't already. It's amazing, folks. It's amazing. It's amazing that I see people out in, walking around, we go do stuff and things like that. And you want to see a zombie? You want to see a biological android? You just people watch for a while. Go ahead. People watch a while. You'll see them. And they're in your face. But what's the solutions? Well, I can tell you legally and constitutionally a solution that our military has a right to do, but they won't do it because they don't have the balls to do it. They've been so castrated lately that they're not able to do anything. And President Obama has his own little army. How do you think other dictators take over countries? The Joint Chiefs of Staff, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, along with the federal provost marshal and attorneys, if you're out there, you can correct me if I'm wrong, they have the constitutional ability and obligation and duty to walk into that White House and say, Mr. President, you are under arrest for treason. Pick him up, pick John Boehner up, pick, Joe Biden up, pick Nancy Pelosi up, pick Dianne Feinstein up. They have the power constitutionally to do that. Now, if I'm wrong, please let me know. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Let me know. If I'm wrong, then set me straight. I'm okay. All right? I'm okay with that. I want to get accurate information to people. The things I already know, I know, but things may have changed. I may have to look back on my 30 years of research and go, that's not happening now. They must have changed that. I haven't done that yet, but so what do we do? What's the solution other than that? The solution is for people to get up off their ass and go out and do something. Go out and protest. Go to your city hall, your state capitals, and protest and protest and protest and protest and be there 24/7 until those city council members, Oaks County Board of Supervisors, that governor of your state hears you and makes the change. Don't stop until they make the changes. You demand that the changes be made, and don't stop protesting until they do. For instance, I live in Nevada. It's an open carry state. Any state legislature, including your governors that propose any type of gun control law, which is really a confiscation law, is in direct violation of our Second Amendment rights of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution for the United States of America prior to 1871. Go look it up. And they, the governors, the legislatures, all those people that are proposing these gun laws need to be arrested and thrown in prison for treason against high crime and treason against the people. But see, the attorney generals won't do that because they're in the pockets of the corporations. So why would they have any incentive to do that? So there you go. Hey, folks. Got to get out of here in a few minutes, but over on the Views Express Live on Spreaker.com and also at freeamericaradio.us, speaking of the Constitution, you might want to listen to this lovely young woman. Actually, she's married very happily, and she's a constitutional attorney. And I want to say this to the married folks out there, right? I'm divorced twice, okay? I can say this. Please understand that your rights don't stop at your front door, either coming or going, okay? I'll get into that in another program, but just remember that, all right? Even when you go to work, remember that. But anyway, you might want to listen to Chris Ann Hall, chrisannhall.com, and listen to the podcast, because this is Liberty's lobbyist, as she says on her website at chrisannhall.com. That's KRISANNE Hall, HALL.com. Check it out. Hey, also, come join me on the Views Express Live today, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Free America Radio Network. You can go to freeamericaradio.us. Check out the site. Donate if you'd like, because Free America Radio Network is going to the next level, and you can be a part of that. So please assist me in getting to the next level. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, folks. Go enjoy your day. Go enjoy your Friday, your weekend, and I will talk to you next week on a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday on the Wayne S. Pierce Show. The Wayne S. Pierce Show.weebly.com. Go check out that site as well. The Wayne S. Pierce Show.weebly.com. And folks, I'll talk to you later on the Views Express Live, right here on the Free America Radio Network at freeamericaradio.us.